Could this have been caused by a fatal case of bad timing? The 19 News probe continues to bring you the real story.
Yes, he's still making headlines, and no, his nightmare still won't go away, especially not after what happened a few hours ago.
And are you risking your health every time some restaurant worker hands you a plate? These stories and more right now.
This is Cincinnati's first and only 10 o'clock news.
Channel 19 asked the Air Force, could a B-52 bomber disrupt airspace to the extent that Dr. Edward Zenny's small plane was forced into a Kentucky mountain? The Air Force's answer, that would be possible. But we then asked, how is it possible that the pilots wouldn't have known that happened? The Air Force's response, the B-52 might not see a plane that small.
More evidence today that, as 19 News first reported, the crash of a prominent local doctor's private plane may have been caused by Air Force bombers crossing its path. Good evening, everyone. I'm Phyllis Watson.
And I'm Jack Atherton. The plane carrying Dr. Edward Zenny and his son-in-law Michael Schill slammed against a mountain in eastern Kentucky Monday afternoon, killing them both. They were only about a half-mile from the airport at Hazard, and personnel there told us they immediately suspected that the crash was caused by turbulence from low-flying bombers. Was that the cause? 19 News reporter Dave Culbreth tells us timing may have been the key.
Yeah, he would be coming in from the northwest, and the B-52 track runs from the west to the east. And there could have been wake turbulence, which could have, caused a problem for him.
This is what's left of Dr. Zenny's plane, a Beechcraft Bonanza. It crashed into the side of this mountain north of Hazard, Kentucky, Monday afternoon. It's a rainy, dreary, ugly day here today, but on Monday, when the plane crashed, it was a beautiful, clear day. And that has prompted the National Transportation Safety Board to ask questions as to why this happened.
We know the airplane was rotating to the left, but we do not know why.
What would cause that?
It indicates that something happened in flight to cause the airplane to come down this way. We don't understand just what.
This is the man on duty, lineman Jim Schur, who talked with Zenny by radio, told him there was no other air traffic, and gave him clearance to land.
2 to 3 minutes later, we did notice military aircraft flying in the IR-75 route, which the lineman proceeded to call the gentleman and tell him that there was some military training aircraft in the area. And 10 or 15 minutes went by, and the gentleman never showed up.
We were told that many military aircraft frequently fly in this area, and local airport officials have no way to contact them to know when they're going to be around.
We do not have the radio capability to talk to the military. They're on a higher frequency band than we are.
The National Transportation Safety Board says their investigation will now shift to determine if the B-52s had anything to do with this tragedy.
We'll be checking with Indianapolis Center and requesting radar data of all aircraft in the area, and we will sit down and work with that data also and see what we find from there.
And that will now be the main focus of their investigation. In Hazard, Kentucky, Dave Culbreth, 19 News.
After doing the initial investigation, officials said the crash appears to be suspicious, and one investigator told 19 News that, quote, if the B-52s didn't have anything to do with it, it would be highly coincidental that they were there at the same time as the crash.
In other news, accusations against pop star Michael Jackson alleging sexual molestation of young boys are building. Jackson's former maid is now accusing the star of paying her with gifts to keep quiet about sexual interludes she witnessed while working for him. The maid says she saw Jackson naked in a shower and jacuzzi with young boys and caught Jackson with her own son. The maid says she quit her job in disgust.
The wraps are off secret government tests that involve dropping radioactive material out of planes over 2 states. Today, Senator John Glenn made public a government report on at least a dozen experiments conducted between 1948 and 1952. Now, according to the report, radioactive material was released from the air and on the ground in Tennessee and Utah in an effort to design a weapon that could spread radiation around a limited area. The embattled Secretary of Defense today became a casualty of Washington warfare. Les Aspin has resigned. The former congressman struggled with issues like gays in the military, defense cutbacks, and his own heart problems, but his biggest setback came when 18 Americans died in Somalia after Aspin refused requests for tank reinforcements. Aspin's resignation, the first by any Clinton cabinet member, is effective January 20th. Much better day for Colin Powell. The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is now a British knight. The honorary award was bestowed by Queen Elizabeth in recognition of Powell's leadership in the Gulf War. He won't be Sir Colin, Americans can't be, but what the heck, everybody calls him Sir anyway.
New Councilman Charles Windburn continues to stir up things at City Hall, just as he promised in his campaign. Windburn today proposed that the council cut its own salary and in the future be required to vote publicly on its compensation and pay raises. The proposal barely saw the light of day when fellow council members Qualls, Lucan, Fortune, Yates, Stern, and Tillery voted to trash it. Another crazed gunman goes on a killing spree, and peace may be on the horizon for Britain and Ireland. Newsreel is next. A gunman with an attitude opened fire in a Chuck E. Cheese restaurant after closing. Police in Aurora, Colorado say the shooting rampage was a vendetta, not a robbery attempt. A 19-year-old fired kitchen worker is being held as a suspect. All victims were shot in the head. 4 of the 5 are dead. A united Ireland may be in sight if the majority in Northern Ireland want to see it that way. It could be some time before the Irish Republican Army reacts to a British-Irish peace proposal, even though Britain and Ireland have agreed upon a framework. More talks could come within 3 months of a permanent ceasefire. And we end Newsreel tonight on a sad note. An 8,900-pound Asian elephant delivered her first calf last night at a Washington zoo, then almost crushed it to death. The mother accidentally kicked the calf when she did not recognize it as hers. The blow may have caused brain injuries, but zoo officials are optimistic. Apparently, the mother is now nursing the calf and showing good maternal instincts. Now, time for our first look.
Windy enough for you? Rich Apuzzo's just back from a trip to Chicago. I bet we got better weather than they do.
Actually, it's about the same across all of the Midwest. Everybody's dealing with clouds, drizzle, fog, and temperatures in the low 40s. So there you go. This is El Nino for you right here. If you want to know what El Nino does, that warming of the ocean waters off the west coast of South America, this is it. It gives you boring winter weather. Here's the way it's shaped up for today. Well, a little more than that. It actually gives you milder than usual winter weather. And 42 was right where we should be. And we're going to be above normal the next few days. The low is 37 this morning. We picked up 0.05 of an inch of drizzle and light rain. Normals are 42 and 26. And a record 69 back in 1975. We'll get nowhere near zero from 1901. Sunrise tomorrow, 7:51. Sunset, 5:18 as we get toward that shortest day of the year coming up in, well, just next week on the 21st. In the meantime, this trend continues, but maybe some snow in the forecast. We'll tell you about that.
For Christmas?
We'll tell you about it.
Okay.
All right.
Greg Hoard standing by with...
All kinds of things. All kinds of things are up, Phyllis, I swear. UC has a very big basketball coming up tomorrow night. Number 4, Temple. We've got a Bearcat preview. Plus, the Bengals got to stop a pretty good back, one Jerome Bettis. We'll cover all of that, plus high school hoop and the early word from the NBA. Should tide us over, I suppose, till midnight.
All right.
All right.
And in recent months, we've seen a number of poisonous cases involving food cropping up around the tri-state and around the country.
So we asked the question, what, if anything, is being done to make sure your next stop after dining out isn't the emergency room? Can you be sure your favorite restaurant is serving up a sanitary meal?
Well, a new inspection system in Cincinnati is designed to make sure you're not being served contaminated food. 19 News reporter Jennifer Fay went along as a health inspector put the white glove treatment to a local restaurant.
Could I get through there, please?
The Cincinnati Health Department is serving up a new set of rules for food inspection. It's called the Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point. Health workers will concentrate on 3 critical areas: food temperature, contact surfaces, and sanitation.
To make sure that no bacteria is growing somewhere along the line to cause a foodborne illness.
Inspectors are paying less attention to low-risk areas like walls, floors, and bathrooms, giving more attention to high-risk territories such as salad bars. These help-yourself areas can be contaminated easily, like in the Trio's restaurant case. Meacham says the new strategy, which was developed by NASA, remains hot on the trail of violators.
If it's a critical violation, we require them to correct it either immediately or within 24 hours, and we do follow up on that. Because things such as hepatitis A should be transmitted by somebody a carrier that just doesn't wash his or her hands properly and then contaminates the food.
The new inspection technique concentrates highly on the food preparation area. Now, customers say the new inspection technique doesn't matter much to them as long as it does the job.
I would never come back to a place that's filthy, food and stuff on the floor. So it's real important to have a clean place.
It wouldn't matter a lot to me. If I like the restaurant and like the food, I'll go there.
Field investigators are currently being trained for the new inspection process. The method should be implemented throughout Ohio by 1995. In Cincinnati, Jennifer Fay, 19 News.
And the Trio's restaurant we just showed you in that package did check out fine. They now have a clean bill of health from the health department.
Meteorologist Rich Apuzzo is up next with a look at the rest of this week's weather.
And just take a look. Snow is ending up in the darndest of places. Hint, hint.
Snow, snow, and more snow. Well, that's the trend, at least in Flagstaff, Arizona, and much of the western states. Now, in Flagstaff, 3 inches of snow fell overnight for a total of 7 inches on the ground out here. And while it's not so unusual for them to get snow, much of the Rockies are covered in snow. A skier's delight out west as storm after storm has hit the western U.S., and maybe some of that snow will be coming our way. Well, let's take a look at what's going on currently. We have cloudy skies and some fog in the area. Very light fog developing right now. Temperature at 40 degrees, a dew point of 38. Humidity 93%. The winds are a light northwest at 8 right now, so not much in the way of wind, not much in the way of cold air. A very nondescript night, but again, for this time of year, this is actually fairly mild. Barometer 29.90 inches, and it is steadies. On the satellites tonight, we do have this storm, which shows up very well on here. Look at this thing rotating away as it moves toward the east coast. Behind it, there's just these low clouds that keep piling in. Actually, look at that, moving west to east, or east to west, kind of backwards what weather usually moves. However, there is dry air. Notice it building out of Canada late in the day and into Wisconsin, parts of Michigan, Illinois. Well, that is heading our way slowly, so that we should see some breaks in the clouds by tomorrow afternoon. In the meantime, though, this little disturbance just to our south will keep us cloudy through the night. But for the most part, the precipitation is over with, though I think I mentioned a patchy drizzle in the forecast. That'll be about it. Look at the temperatures. Clouds and moisture holds in the warmth and makes everything very uniform. So from Muskegon, Michigan at 40 to Louisville at 41, Chicago 42, and Huntington, West Virginia at 41. So everything pretty much the same. The coldest air found where the skies have cleared. They're at 33 right now at Marquette, Michigan, 35. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Here's the way it looked on radar today. Look at this. Everything, again, moving east to west. This is very unusual, but when you get on the backside of a big storm, which is now on the east coast, this is the pattern you get. So we had that light rain shower activity through the day, some moderate rains up to the north, and tonight, that is all diminished. So it looks like we're not going to have to deal with that any longer. However, here's the way things shape up for tomorrow. We have just some mixed clouds and sunshine tomorrow. That's about it. No real precipitation in the tri-state, a few showers along the east coast. But as we head toward Friday, rain starts to develop out to the west. That starts moving in, and as it does, by late Friday, we could see some rain showers in here as yet another front comes our way, and some snow. Upper Midwest, a flurry or two could linger in here onto the weekend, but don't worry too much about that. A white Christmas, that's a big question mark. Let's take a look at that forecast. And stay tuned for the midnight show. We are going to have the outlook for the next 30 days. Mostly cloudy overnight, cool, some patchy fog, and again, some drizzle, 35 to 37 on light northeast winds. That's 10 to 12 degrees above normal for the lows. Morning rush, mostly cloudy, cool, patchy fog, 35 to 37. And then your midday hour, we'll call it variably cloudy and mild, 43 to 47 by mid-afternoon, a light northeast wind. Tomorrow night, yeah, more of the same, partly cloudy, cool, patchy fog. And look what happens as we go into your Friday, becoming cloudy, but breezy and mild. Showers again by evening, 45 to 50. Temperatures are well above normal for this time of year, so no complaints there. And maybe we'll even see a peak of sunshine to make everybody a little happier tomorrow.
All right.
Okay, I know Phyllis is good, but you eat the way I eat. I know. We got to shape up just to keep up with the machinery. Listen to this. Passengers like us may have diets that aren't so good, but it seems the Metro bus system is pumping up with health food. Since the summer, Metro has been feeding 6 buses with a soy-based diesel fuel. Metro says the fuel has significantly reduced smoke and soot emissions. The results of the test now go to the EPA.
Santa Claus is coming early for thousands of needy Cincinnatians this holiday. The Salvation Army is handing out 10,000 new toys to the needy. About 4,000 families will receive a toy for each tot. Dozens of volunteers, including the Cincinnati Fire Department, are making the distribution process a little easier.
Money to be able to get enough, you know, and make a good Christmas for their kids, but this helps out a lot.
The toys were bought with your donations from the Salvation Army's Red Pot. $40,000 have been collected so far.
It's nail-biting time for thousands of folks in Indiana, all dreaming of becoming an instant millionaire courtesy of tonight's Powerball drawing. 55 millions are up for grabs. Earlier today, tickets were selling at a rate of about $90,000 an hour. The drawing is going to be held in less than an hour.
And the UC Bearcats have one of their toughest tests ahead of them, and it doesn't have anything to do with midterms.
It's the Hoopsters that are preparing the lesson for the battle against the #4 team in the nation.